What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the not-so-final finale of Wonder Egg Priority, episode 12. This is An Unvanquished Warrior. So, this is the finale of the season. There won't be any more after this next week. But it's not the end of the show because the special episode, episode 13, is coming out in, I believe, the end of June. So, right at the end of the summer season... right at the end of the spring season, going into the summer season, we will be getting the 13th episode to this. And I do not know, as far as I'm aware, that is actually episode 12 of the show, because as we all know, there were production issues on the show. We got a full numbered episode of a recap, which pushed everything back a week. And as a result, there is no timing slot for them to take episode 13 next week. So it's been pushed all the way to June, which is kind of shitty and speaks of a greater issue in the anime industry of itself, but we're not here to discuss that. That's an entirely different topic for another video, and for people more informed than myself. Because I do not know the anime process as deep as I would like to in order to comment on such issues. Honestly, the fact that we still are in a situation where this happens more often than it needs to, and the conditions it ultimately leads to, it's kind of shitty and might spark something of a change, especially since the whole COVID regulations that force a lot of shows to postpone and figure stuff out. Hopefully, some of those will have knock-on effects to improve anime creation in the future. But yeah, last time out, the show took a bit of a turn. We kind of knew the show was going in a weird direction. There was always hints of Akka and Uraka and their true intentions and what they're doing. We got a lot more backstory on them and what led to this situation that we're in. So they were researchers, and and during their research, I think this was aside from their main research, they just thought, let's create a human girl, like a teenage girl. And so they did it. They made an AI that essentially was her. Although what they perceived to be the perfect girl, really. So you can see where that might backfire if you don't include... I mean, it's always going to backfire whenever you try and create something human, because no one... I don't think I've ever seen a scientific, like a sci-fi type show, ever successfully make a AI that is true human to the point of where it behaves as expected, let's be honest. It always ends up going wrong. And in this case, it did end up going wrong. Although, for the first while, it seemed to be going just fine. Frill was doing well. They were having fun. But it was Akka, right, who fell in love with another researcher and ultimately married her and got her pregnant. And Frill seemed to have... There was an obvious difference in the setting between them, especially with Uraka getting swamped in research, Akka working all the time, and then we've got this intruder almost that could almost be seen, especially since she was pregnant and about to have a baby girl, could be seen as almost a replacement for Frill. And I think Frill, who had never had to deal with these emotions before, and since it was sophisticated enough of an AI, maybe it was like not understanding them and seemed to act out on them in a very, very undesirable way to murder her and the baby, or attempt to murder the baby, but didn't successfully murder the baby, with a hairdryer in the bath, which is messed up. Also, Frill's, I feel there's an importance to her, tick, which is the... I can't do it properly because I've got a little bit of an ulcer here, which is kind of making it hard to talk as well, but the, that noise... I don't like it, because I feel like there's something more important to that. Because also it was, the daughter, who grew up eventually, also made that noise, right at, the idea that Uraka should just wait for her, and, hey, you can date me instead, I look like Mum, why not, right? Which is a pretty messed up thing for a kid to say. And it makes me wonder what was going on in her life before that, for her then to commit suicide, or seemingly commit suicide. They very much said it looks like a suicide, but with no note, which makes me think maybe it wasn't. And the fact that she had frills right beforehand, again, is just very, very creepy. it makes me wonder what Frill has been doing this entire time, trapped in that like locker essentially underground. And before that even happened, before the killings and stuff, she created Hyphen and Dot and one other. We have not seen this other one. I'm going to assume this is the other one that will confront Nehru, because we've had Hyphen confronted Momoe, Dot confronted Rika. It makes sense that this yet unnamed one will confront Nehru, and then maybe I will confront Frill. That's kind of how I see it happening, because there is only 3 that Frill created, and you've got 4 girls, so it stands to reason maybe you send the 3 underlings for the side of the group, and then I would meet Frill. But to what purpose, to what mechanics this is being explained by, I do not know. And it's very, very confusing, and I'm worried. Well, first of all, I'm worried that with this episode, we're not going to get a significant enough reason to wait 3 months to watch the finale, because when you have 3 months to wait just to get your one final episode, a lot of people are just going to turn off and just forget about it, and might not want to watch it, might not have time to rewatch it so it's fresh in their memory and just give up on it. So it's problematic in more ways than one, but we'll see what happens. We are going to watch episode 30 when it eventually comes out. I assume Funimation will want to pick that up, since it is a direct continuation. It's not like an OVA special. It actually is the 13th episode, as far as I'm aware. Unless they decide to end it here, which I don't think they will. If they decide to just wrap it up here and just cut out whatever the special is going to be, that'd be really weird. But I guess we'll see, because this episode was delayed on Funimation. It is currently 20 to 1 in the morning here, which is round about the normal time I would be recording an episode like this. The episode's been out 40 minutes, because it got delayed from... It just kept getting delayed on Funimation's side of things. Apparently it aired alright on Japanese side, but on Funimation it just kept getting pushed back and back and back. I don't know if that was Funimation's issue, if it was an issue from One Priority team to get it to Funimation. I don't know where the hang-up was in that, but yeah, so the episode only just come out. It also has one of Reincarnated as Slime's thumbnails. I don't know why. I shared it on my Discord. It's just kind of funny that we've got Reincarnated as Slime as the thumbnail for this episode, so who knows. I guess that's a Funimation issue in of itself. But yeah, episode 12, we're going to get into it and see how this goes. I'm cautious about this. I don't know what to think, really, but we'll see. But, like, we still got Ai and Sawaki and all that stuff to unpack. Like, what's going to happen with that? Because we kind of left that to get all this backstory on Frill and everything like that to go weird sci-fi direction. Are we coming back to Sawaki? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to shut up and we're going to watch the episode. So, as per usual, these are time-based format reactions here on YouTube. If you want to see full picture-in-picture, go to my Patreon down in the description below. £4 a month gets you access to all picture-in-picture reactions I do on the channel, which is everything from this season and future seasons. Some of the spring shows have actually already started. We also got backdated shows, Patreon request shows such as School Live, which we're finishing today. We also have movie reactions such as Wolf Children went up yesterday. We'll also have the poll for April starting on the 1st, so pay attention for that. But here on YouTube we have 2 timer-based, so bottom left of the screen you'll see a timer for the episode. I count down 3, 2, 1, play. Then I'll play you start the episode, I start the episode, and we'll be in sync. Watch this one on Funimation since they licensed it and have only just got it uploaded. Hopefully no Funimation issues in the middle of recording, we'll see. I'm not trusting it so far though. But as per usual, you can use screen flash on my face or mic to tell when it's transitioning. We have Aniplex and Funimation logos, so 12 seconds logos that I'll talk you through. You can also look at this part of the headset. That should help you sync up since it's quite reflective. Especially Aniplex to Funimation and Funimation to episode. Those transitions are usually very obvious. So, with all that said, let's get into the not finale of One Direct Priority in 3, 2, 1, play. Aniplex. Funimation. Cheers. Here we go. Oh, we're finally actually going to talk. Mm-hmm. What happened indeed? Is there a reason why we've been holding this wide shot this entire time? Okay. Hmm. Still no confirmation on what happened to the girls we saved. Wants revenge. One wants to forget the experience, one wants to get revenge for the experience. Okay. Hmm. Still going. Doesn't want to, though. Out of fear. Oh boy. Who's gonna be this time? Oh. Oh. Now that's creepy. I don't know what significance that's going to mean now. But we do know one. Which one was it? Was it Akaraka said they picked an egg, right? So they have control of which eggs appear to an extent. So why would they pick Ai's egg? And why does she have an egg? That's kind of creepy. I love it. Can't wait to see what sort of meaning they put behind that. All right. Right. Okay. Okay. Kills herself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So killed herself before could even meet Kueto. Hmm. Not always quite as easy as that. Okay. There we go. How do we have? Mm-hmm. Or was, unfortunately. Oh, is that Sawaki? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Mm, disobey. Nice. Hmm. How much of this actually is an amplified version of him, or actually is any of his? Yes. It's not the real Sawaki. Hmm. And that's what they tell her anyway. It's gonna be Koito. Yep. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay then. Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Hello, Koito. And she's gonna fade, and oh no. Yep. Who's it gonna be? I was surprised Neru didn't get hers before I. So maybe I's gonna meet the third daughter, sibling, friend of um hmm. Okay. Hmm. Here we go. Oh yeah, so I is gonna meet the third one. Gee, what? I don't know what's his name. Rika. Hmm. Hmm. Whoa. Whoa. And that's it. That's where we end it. So yeah, definitely need an episode 13. That's not a conclusion in itself. Which is gonna make the 3 month wait even more unbearable. I will forget so much of this show before that episode gets out as well. I have to rewatch it then. Maybe other reactors might pick it up. Like in that gap, even maybe. Don't know if Tia Boo would react to this series necessarily. It'd be awesome if he did, but he'd have to pick it up this season. I don't know if he has any plans to pick up any of this season's shows yet. We're gonna have an after credits? No, not really. Hmm. We might get the title for the special? Maybe. Weird bit attack on the end there. I don't know if that was necessarily a anime thing or if that was more directed at the viewer base, honestly. But yeah, okay. Why do I feel so dissatisfied right now? I don't know. I don't know why. But yeah, yeah, this was yeah, honestly, here's the comparison I want to make. For those who kept up with me during Gekido, when that was airing, this feels very I have a very similar feeling to this show as I had to that one, in that I was so into it, the suspense and the idea of where it could be going, and then all of a sudden it feels like they just packed on a load of extra things at once. Like for this one, there was like the mystery of Sawaki and if he truly is there, what's the true cause of Koito's situation? And then now we've started to go into parallel universes, human AIs, and weird, like, life versus death arguments. Like, it feels like the whole entire scope of it just suddenly shifted. I'm not going to say as suddenly as Gekido, I don't think. I mean, it's quite as sudden. The idea of there being a parallel universe in which as you can meet another you that died is kind of interesting, I suppose. How they actually have that knowledge, forget it, I guess. I don't know, I feel like this show, I'm really not as into it as when it first started. Like, this is just a more beautiful Keki doll in terms of how I feel about it. And again, this is another Cloverworks thing where it's like, I'm questioning Cloverworks more and more as time goes on. Like, Neverland Season 2 was just a disaster. Let's just forget that. Horimiya has so far been their best adaptation. I think Horimiya is the best show they've done this season. And I wonder why. I wonder if that has played into it. The fact that they had 3 shows on the go for release this one season. I wonder if that has been part of the reasoning why we've ended up in this situation with Neverland 2 being just a disaster, Horimiya seeming to be the best work, and then this having production issues and having a rushed feeling to it. I think you could tell this episode as well that it was nowhere near as polished as some of the earlier ones, in terms of visual quality as well. Like, especially since the beginning of this episode. We had that like wide shot of them talking, and we just kept zooming, 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 and it felt like it went on for like over half a minute on that one static shot of zooming in, to the point where the quality was getting actually quite bad, and like you can almost tell that there was meant to be more there, not just this long shot forever. But I find it interesting that Neru is the last one to meet anybody, which stands to reason then that who is Neru meant to meet? Unless we repeat one of the girls, hyphen dot, and then whatever the fuck her name was. Like, what a long ass name, and in no way. Let me find that name again, because I feel like they wouldn't choose a ridiculously long name like that if it didn't have some form of meaning behind it, you know? So let me just go find that name. Can't use Funimation because their player sucks with scrolling back. Oh, I'm going to have to because other sites have not got it yet because it only just went up. Let's see. Where was her introduction? Kirara Rodriguez, matured 18, Evening Star SS Plum. What on earth could that mean? Kirara Rodriguez matured. the 18th, Evening Star SS Plum. Frill has a weird naming scheme. Hyphen, dot, and then that. I get the feeling that matured 18 is an intentional choice. Just, of all the numbers to go along with matured, 18, the indication of going from childhood to when you're legally an adult, I guess. I feel like that's an intentional choice. Evening Star, no idea. SS Plum. Does SS Plum mean anything? No, nothing off the bat. Give me a second here. So yeah, I have absolutely no idea where that name could come in. The only thing I can think of is the matured 18 potentially being intentional because of 18. I don't know where anything else in there could bring into any meaning. It's just so different from hyphen and dots that I feel like that is intentional. But I don't quite know why. In a weird sense. Maybe there's some more meaning that can be extracted from that, but I just don't have it. Yeah, it's just a weird... It just feels weird. Like, I know there's one more episode, and that's... Yeah. It depends on what the next episode gives, I guess. Like, it's entirely dependent on that, right? As to where we now go. But I don't know where that's going to be. Where do we go from here now? How do we wrap that up in an episode? Like, that's what's even scary, is that we do have another episode, but how do you wrap that up in an episode? I don't even know how you do that. Like, do we just confirm that... So, I and Koito both had a crush on Sawaki? Is that what we're implying? And then Koito... Are we implying that with the parallel world things, that depending on who Sawaki chose, either Koito or I died in that moment? Is that kind of what we're meant to be implying? That depending on the Sawaki in that universe, either he wants I or he wants Koito, and depending on which one's which, he kills himself based on... they killed themselves based on that? Is that kind of what we're getting at? I don't even know at this point. I don't even know what that ending bit was about. Like, bringing a parallel I into the equation kind of was unnecessary in my mind. But I don't see why you'd start bringing parallel worlds into this. It just feels like another extra layer to add that doesn't really need to exist. It just feels like an overcomplication, you know? But we got it. We got it regardless, so... We still don't really know what happens to the girls we save, if we're actually even saving them at this point. We don't actually know what's happening with them. Is it that we're saving them in an alternate universe, that they can live on in an alternate timeline? So whilst we don't save them in this timeline, they get to live in another one? Is that what we're getting at there? But that shouldn't be how it works, because there should be a timeline where they're already existing, because at that moment they chose to die, or if they were maybe even incentivized to die by Frill, if that's the theory we're guessing at here, then they should already be a universe where they're alive. Like, in every instance, in every decision, the idea of parallel worlds, no matter how small a decision, there is a branching path of it. So, for example, there is a universe where my decision here to record this episode doesn't happen. There's a universe in which I didn't ever start YouTube. There's a universe in which there's so many of them. And as soon as you start dealing with parallel universes, you just run into the problem of there being completely billions and billions and billions of them, to the point where you can have whatever you want at your disposal for whatever suits your narrative needs, and that gets a little iffy. But obviously they pick ones that are very specific, in tune with what they're trying to say as their message, but I don't know the message here. That's what I don't know. And like I said, it stands to reason now that Neru is going to bump into Frill. But why Neru? Why wouldn't it be I, our supposed main? Why would Neru be the one to come into contact with Frill? Or why would they reuse one of those three? It's just too convenient that we've got four main characters and four antagonists, so to speak. And it kind of seems like Ako and Araka have a divide on how they want to handle this situation. Aka probably just wants Himari back. Or Aka wants to maybe save Frill in all of this. Potentially. And then we've got the girl that works for Neru, Misaki, right? And her involvement and what she's been analyzing and stuff. I don't know, this really needed that last episode. Like, it really needs the last episode. And I feel bad for having to give a review or rating on this show based on that, but if you as a studio put yourself in this situation where you end up like this, then I'm sorry, I have to rate you accordingly. Like, this is a rare occurrence to have this happen. Like, shows have recap episodes. It happens, and some shows plan for it right from the beginning. Like, Skate had a recap episode, but we're getting the finale of the show regardless. Many other shows have recaps, like Darwin's Game last season had a recap episode after episode 4, which is terrible. Like, why do you have a recap 4 episodes in? That's ridiculous. But we still got a complete season that made sense. So, yeah, you should never, as a studio, you should never get yourself in this position. And it's entirely based on, like, I don't know the full situation, but it's almost certainly to do with the studio. And they've got to start thinking, hang on, did we take too much on this season? Did we mismanage it? Did we misplan it? Like, I highly doubt it was animators not delivering what they said they were going to deliver. I highly doubt it's as simple as that. It usually isn't. I don't want to victimize... Well, I don't want to blame the animators, because it's the animators that have to work insane amounts of hours and insane amounts of time into their work with relatively few breaks, just to meet up with the demands of an anime season. So, who knows what the actual reasoning is behind it, but all in all, I feel dissatisfied with the way this went, overall as a series. We'll see what the finale is like in 3 months' time, which is ridiculous, but it's what we got to work with, so we're going to leave it there. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, as much as it was kind of weird. Leave a like if you did, as well as your comments what you thought of this, and now what you think of the series and the direction it's gone so far. I really would like to have a conversation about this one, either on the YouTube comments or on Discord, because I really do feel that sense of disappointment, similar to what I felt with Gekidol when I went in with that one, that I don't really know what they're trying to do here anymore. I feel lost in the purpose of the show. Because at first it seemed like it was having like a genuine discussion and take on the effects and causes of the suicides in not just Japan but worldwide when it comes to young girls and the issues they face in society. I thought like it was actually going to try and give a meaningful take on all of that. But now we've ended up in a sci-fi parallel world weirdness that wasn't super sudden, but still feels a bit convoluted based on what information we have so far and the pacing we've got so far. So, anyway, don't forget to hit subscribe as well, because we will get to episode 13 in 3 months' time eventually, if we all remember the series by then. And hopefully hopefully Funimation picks it up. I assume they'll probably want to, since otherwise they'll feel a bit shafted that they didn't even get the full series out of it when they were I mean, they probably had an obligation to Funimation to deliver the episodes as well, so I'm sure Funimation's going to be pestering for that as well, but we'll see if it gets picked up. But we do have the Spring 2021 season kicking off here on the channel as well, so you can go check out some of the series that I'll be watching on that. Have a preview video on the main page of my channel, so check that one out. But thank you everyone for watching. Until next time, see you guys later.